10 years ago, something terrible happened in this house. This weekend, it's about to happen again. Evil Laugh, 1986. Welcome to another review, 80's Slasher, JBM, for Mr. Creepshow 9. This one, I'd recommend. The plotting of it moves along smoothly, and it's entertaining for all horror fans, I'd say. It doesn't have a lot of filler like all the early 80's ones has. And it gets classified as real cheesy. But I don't think it's that cheesy. It was a decent flick, low budget, not too many locations, great dialogue, conversations, and a lot of the director and the writer really don't have any credits, can't really be found on the internet, but I'd have to say that they did a good job, and you could tell they were kind of fans of the slasher genre uprise of the early 80's, because they made this by 86 or whatever. I guess it didn't get released until 88. Anyway, and the reason why it's called Evil Laugh is because the villain has this like voiceover crazy kind of laugh when he does his kills. And so what's the plot? What's it all about? It's about these medical students, a bunch of future yuppies who end up going to this rented out house. It's actually a house that they're going to be fixing up. And it's like total new school and like kind of like California type of condominium. And they try to pass it off as an old foster home with a dark, sinister history that we don't learn about until later. So they spend the weekend in the house trying to renovate it and clean it up. And then it isn't an late 80's movie without a soft rock music montage complete with the worst dancing you've ever seen. And then they all descend down the banister on the stairway in one shot. Wow. But the thing to really like about this is there's a character similar to who's a horror fan. Now he's not as cunning and adroit as Randy Meeks from Scream, but he's the self-referential character in this, of where he's like, you guys better not have any sex. After he learns about the house, apparently before it got burnt down, which makes no sense, and it used to be an old foster home where someone went nuts and killed all the kids and that type of thing, and the realtor sells it off to these people, and no one really knows the secret except for one of the girls. And so the guy and then all these guests have exquisite taste in the meals, and they like to eat monkey brains and cow balls, and I'm not even exaggerating, those are the words that they use. And so the guy who's hosting the party, he shows up first to get the keys from the realtor. His car ends up disappearing. And then later on, Tina's topless scene, her nipples end up disappearing. She takes off her bra and she has no nipples. Or maybe they're just opaque or camouflage. I don't know. You can watch it. It's on YouTube. Tell me your opinion. But anyway, Barney has a bunch of hilarious. Once he learns about the house history, he starts getting real paranoid, and he goes. And all the male characters look alike. It's hard to adjust and differentiate all of them as you go along. But then it gets to the point where he's like, don't have sex. And he's just like, I'm convinced a mental case mass murderer is going to kill us all. And he's just like, and then one of the characters is like, why? And he's like, I don't know, why does the guy in Halloween want to kill Jamie Lee Curtis? Why do those dumb kids keep on coming back to Camp Crystal Lake? I don't know. And he starts flipping out. He's hilarious. It's worth watching just for him. He's not even as good as there's There's Something Out There. Oh, I don't even. There's Something Out There, the early 90s film where it's a satire parody where they have a character who's a horror fan and knows all the horror cliches and what to do and what not to do and how to survive a horror movie. He's hilarious. If you've never seen There's Nothing Out There or There's Something Out There, I forgot what it's called, but it's from the early 90s. I always get the something or nothing confused. Then the rest is going to be spoilers for people that have actually seen the film. So go and check it out. Come back for this ending or listen on if you've seen it. So, how am I going to explain this ending? One guy gets his head nuked in the microwave. And we end up learning that it's the realtor's wife. I suspected her early on, but then I was like, she looks too much like a red herring. It looks too obvious. I didn't believe it. And it ends up being her. And Randy Meeks survives. Barney survives. He fakes his death and comes back to shoot her in the back with a blank. And you can see him aiming the gun, and he's not even aiming it at her. And him and the final girl's really hot in this. So they end up surviving, and then he ends up pulling. And then they have an aftermath scene after the ending scene where he ends up stalking her in a mask and trying to kill her. And it's just a joke that he's playing on her. And we end up learning that she's the one with the evil laugh, and she's kind of psychotic herself. And she went off and started killing some of the guests. And you're like, oh shit, it makes sense, but not really. Overall, I'd give it a C+. Pretty entertaining. Not the best piece of art you'll ever see, but you know what to expect. It's 1986. Anyway, I'm out.